I'm Maddie Nolf, and I'm a woman who lives by gratitude, character, and faith.
So Maddie Nolf, thanks for joining us today. Let's go, right?
Thank you.
So we're talking before about character, right? And what we want to know is, in your life, has there any been as a coach or a mentor who's helped inform your character?
Yeah, I think that I'm really blessed because I have great parents. I have a family of 3 brothers, so I think they form my character a lot and like how we grew up. And then I had great coaches, like all grown, like kind of goofy coaches,
Right.
but really good coaches. And especially in college, I had like amazing female role models because I hadn't been coached by a female. Like I remember kind of being biased. I thought like when I was in high school, a little nervous, like, okay, I'm going to go to Penn State, but they're female coaches. I didn't have like a good female coach. So I just thought maybe they wouldn't be as good. I know that sounds silly. Being a woman, you would think that you would like give credit to a woman, but by far that staff was the best coaching staff I've ever had as far as knowledge of the game and stuff like that. But it just probably changed me more than I realized because now I could see that I could do the same things that they do. Like Coach Walsh, she's been on the national team for a number of years. And now I like know, okay, you can reach the highest levels as a woman and things like that, which you wouldn't think. Like I was very tenacious as a little girl. I had 3 brothers, so I played on my brothers.
Were they older brothers or younger?
Yeah. So I had 2 older, let me back it up. So I have 2 older brothers and then 1 younger brother. But we played all sports. My parents like really believed in sports. They put us in everything like a petri dish and just said like whatever you choose, then you're gonna go hard at. So, but my brothers were always beating up on me, and I played on my brother's team, who was like 18 months older than me. So only played on boys' teams. Like I was shy because there was only boys, and that's crazy if you know me now because I'm very energetic and like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know you to be shy.
Yeah, I was, but I was. It's crazy. Like my dad had to hold my hand for my first soccer game and things like that. So I was just like, I don't want to do that stuff, you know. But my parents pushed me to be uncomfortable, and then my brothers like challenged me because I always wanted to be as good as them. So brothers team, all boys team, and then his hockey team, all boys team. I had to like change in the separate bathroom and then go into the locker room, and that was like through 8th grade. So like pretty formative years. So I think my brothers shaped me because they didn't treat me any different. And they allowed me to be in their space of like friends and things like that. And yeah, like I said, they taught me how to be tough and things like that, which I really appreciate now because I feel comfortable in any space. Like things that aren't generally comfortable, maybe for a woman, I'm like, okay, I know I can go in there. Or like my husband, he plays on the wrestling team, and I like to go play dodgeball with the boys because I like doing it. But maybe if I didn't grow up as a little girl getting to be in other spaces, I'd think like, yeah, you just can't do that. But it's like, I know I want to have fun anywhere. And then lastly, my parents, definitely the biggest like character, like besides soccer and all that thing. My parents are very humble and hardworking. You know, my dad grew up working on a farm and things like that. So, you know, my dad has a very good job, and he drives like an old Ford Ranger truck. Like, you know, he just like, he doesn't care about superficial things or anything like that. He's all about people and generosity and very, very humble. So I like take those things with me. Community, like always trying to do like things for others and working hard, knowing you can achieve anything that you want if you go out there and get it, you know, and their faith, obviously. So there's kind of a lot that shaped my character.
That's a lot of good stuff, though. Being humble, being hardworking, being connected to others, being comfortable and going to new spaces. Yeah. Right? That's really great. Like, I think that's pretty interesting. Again, something we were talking about, right? Where they took you to new spaces that your dad had to hold your hand.
Yeah, that's
and now look at you going into all those spaces, going into the restroom, which can't be that easy now, like, you know, getting down with the guys and like in the dodgeball. That's great. Yeah. So now as you come to Penn State, what do you think? First of all, what brought you to Penn? How'd you go from Nebraska to Penn State?
That was kind of crazy too. It was my dream to go to Notre Dame, and we had this whole list of colleges, and Penn State was like never on my little, you know, like write up all your dreams of colleges and stuff like that. Penn State was never on it. Was gonna commit to Notre Dame. They had just like offered me, but I lined up a visit to Penn State because of a coach in the Omaha area. He had coached on the men's side and reported back that Erica Walsh was like the best coach he's ever been around, and that I should really consider Penn State.
Wow.
And then I think Coach Walsh had been looking at a girl in a club older than me, which is rare. Like you said, Nebraska is really not on the map for soccer, so it's crazy that she was recruiting. And I think she was a little bit interested in me, and somehow we got into contact. She might have seen me through, I was on youth national teams and stuff like that, so that helped get my name out as well. So I don't know. I scheduled a visit, and then I fell in love when I came here. And
that's it. So what were the things you fell in love with?
Right.
Yeah. So give me some of those things.
Yeah. I was like pretty sure of what I wanted. I just think I was like, I wanted to go to a school that I could win a national championship. So I was not considering any schools that I couldn't, and I want to have a good education. So it was like, those things were simple. That helped me like create my list.
Right.
So that made me think like, okay, I'll go there. And then when I started looking at the pedigree of Penn State, I was like, wow, like our coach, I want to make the national team. She has been on the national team for a number of years. So it's like, I have a coach that knows how to get me to a place that I want to go.
Right.
She had been like the whole staff, our assistant coaches, they're best friends from college. That's rare, like family environment.
Yeah.
They've been together like they're the longest staff like that's been together, I think, in college soccer.
Wow.
I don't know, 13 years or something like that. They've been coaching together. So, you know, you go to a place and you get recruited, and sometimes your coaches leave.
Right.
But I knew her, like her parents run the booster club. It's just a very family environment. So I was like, these things are
special.
cool.
Yeah.
But my family, we drove up 16 hours or something like this from Nebraska.
So that's an easy drive.
We're crazy. My family's crazy in a good way. So we drive up and this is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. But like the first moment I met the coaches, I was like, oh, I want to go here. Like I just remember getting lunch with my parents after, and it's the kind of people they were.
Right.
Like my dad used to always say, you know, you can't pick your kids' friends, but you can pick the environment that they choose from.
Right.
And my parents weren't making this decision for me, but I was making that decision. I want to be surrounded by like awesome people.
Right.
And I made the best decision I could ever made because I met my husband here, and there's Olympians and unbelievably successful people and people of great faith.
Right.
And like I got that feeling when I met the coaches that they were good people. You know, it could be transactional at like a high level, but it's like no, they're about family. They're I think Penn State's like marked by blue collar work, so it's like almost like an Ivy League school, but it's not. It's I don't know, kind of people that like to grind and work hard.
Right.
That's how
Let's
it felt
go,
to me.
Right?
Yeah,
Let's
so I was
go.
like, that's my school. You know, Notre Dame was like in my head what I wanted, but then it really wasn't who I was. When I came to Penn State, I'm like, yes, these people are go-getters, 50,000 people. It's all about sports.
Right.
It's family oriented. So it was just like, I don't know, maybe how when you meet your husband, your wife, like you feel that. That's how I felt when I met the coaches. So it was no question. It was the only visit and both my parents were on. So it felt very like,
wow. That's pretty magical.
Yeah, it was cool.
And now you get to put your fingerprints on it, right? Now you're part of that. You're coming into, you're like, I like that, but now you being in here influences other folks in that space, right? You're part of those folks. Like, people are like, oh yeah, Maddie Nolf, right? She does that thing. Now I want to go there to be part of that thing. I just think it's great how that thing has been feeding. And for me, being part of it in the 80s and watching as that's built out and like really on that we are attitude, right? And it's the real deal. It's the real deal, right?
I'm proud.
But people just come in and it's like everyone puts a shoulder into it, right? Everyone's making that happen, even from Nebraska. That's pretty cool.
That's right.
So you're here, you're on the team. Talk to me about any of the players on the team. Like, was there anything about their character? You know, we talked about it before. Like, sometimes you meet different people. Like, oh, I like what they're doing. Was there anyone that like you're playing with, you know, then that really influenced your character in another way? Or maybe you saw some things in them, or you know, even in coming out of Penn State into your pro career.
Well, I remember one thing that was like I think speaks to what I just said previously, how Penn State is blue collar and it breeds successful people in a different light. Like I think people are humble and they're go-getters. They're not like necessarily like, oh, you're the most talented and we're going to treat you like a pro. It's more just like a family fostering growth and things like that. Very centered around growth and coming out of a space of being a good person and doing things the right way. So I felt like that was really shining a light on our program when we were juniors. The U20 World Cup cycle was coming around, and I had 5 teammates, me included, that went to the World Cup. So it was like so many people that we had to unenroll from school. We had to like live together and train because we were all on scholarship. Coach was like, we got to get other people on scholarship to play and stuff like that. But I thought that was so amazing that 5 people, we were the most represented in that U20 World Cup. And then they were my best friends. Everybody, we had horrible fitness packets. We did it to the T, you know, and no one was monitoring you and things like that. So I thought, wow, like that's pretty cool that those kind of people were picked for the U20 World Cup. And those players I felt like really helped lead that cycle, which was just really cool. So they became my best friends and stuff like that. I lived in one of the girls' houses in Ohio, and we were just like doing our fitness packets and putting our training together. I came like a little pro at that time, but I mean, so I thought that was really cool.
That is pretty cool.
I thought that was really rare.
Yeah. And by the way, so shout out to one of the people who was in here before was Kate Wiesner.
Yeah.
And when she found out you're coming in, she's like, Maddie Nolf was the best. And
cool.
and she inspired me. So again, just going backwards.
Yeah.
About how you say what you bring, and then you come in and now you become the example for somebody else. You know, and that's pretty big. That's so gratitude. We're going to shift gears over on the gratitude side. So talk to me about your gratitude, maybe where it comes from.
Yeah. I think it's simple for me that my gratitude comes from God, because I feel like you can't really look at it in a worldly aspect. It's just like, wow, he created me.
Right.
You know, I've always been somebody with like a lot of joy. And so just like getting amped about the day, like, when you're driving, the music, like that, just that basic gratitude, not even thinking about even bigger things like my family, my health, my job, like have a unique job. Like that's so cool. I mean, you could build, like gratitude builds, but I feel like I've always had an energy in my heart because, we're alive. Like you don't know what the day is going to bring. So my gratitude comes from God, just knowing that he loves me, he created me, and like he's purposed me. So it's simple. I don't have to think about anything else. I don't think even about how cool my job is, or even that I went to Penn State. Those are like hard to really like wrap my head around how how much gratitude I could have for that. But like simple, like if I didn't have any of that, I love like living. I love being alive, and I always have, you know, like that gets me. That gets me like honestly so excited in my heart, you know, before you have adding any other things to the equation. It's like,
and it's infectious. Like I think you came in and you add that, you're giving every interaction we've had a shot of B12, right? You're bringing an extra something, you know, you're putting that super on your natural, bringing that supernatural. And that's great that God powers that through. And because I'm just saying it flows through to everybody else, and you're really feeling that spirit. So are you able to bring that into the performance space at all?
Heck yeah. I think actually this is kind of a unique thought. I remember one time as I was getting older, I was kind of thinking like, you know, does God really care about like sports and being elite? Because maybe that's not as humble, and like he doesn't care about. And our friend Kyle Snyder, we're in this family group chat. It's Maddie and his wife, or Kyle and his wife Maddie, and Jason and I. And I just remember texting, and he just texted this long text, and he was just like, Christians are warriors, like they're the toughest people in the world. And I just think, and then it ties in that verse in my head. It's like, the joy of the Lord is our strength. And like, where do you get joy? It's from gratitude. So like, gratitude is strength. You know, a lot of people don't think about, you know, if I say go in there and do a match, like you'd be like, I hate to be tough. People listen to rap. Like they try to go in this hard space of who they are, but like, that's not what the Bible says. And the Bible is true, right? So, or, you know, like God is the gratitude, the joy is strength. It's a full shield. Like nothing can penetrate my shield of gratitude. Like when I go and I want to compete in the World Cup or anything that I want to do, it's like that overwhelming feeling of love, the sense of gratitude that I'm there is like all I need to go out and absolutely crush what I'm going to do, you know? It's like remind you when you're doing something hard, like the gratitude to go out and achieve that because I've been put in this space, so I'm going to go get it. And I don't have to feel bad about it. You know, God has purposed me to go do that, and I'm going to do it out of love. And I always enjoyed that. Like when I was pro, and I was like a younger pro and stuff like that, people were very serious. But if I score a goal, let's go, because I'm having fun. You know, this is my job. Like, so I like to have fun, and that helps me be awesome. You know, I don't want to go a day and just be like super serious. It doesn't make me better. You know, so I don't know. That's kind of how my brain works about gratitude. Is like gratitude is the joy, and the joy is strength, and that's wrapped in love, and like that's how I'm gonna approach everything that I do. You know, it's like, and it's easier. I think people try to go in a different way because they think if I enter this space, I'll be better, but it's not true.
No, that's great. And it's you being you, right? We talked about that before, like you being an authentic version of yourself. And you can always, and that's foundational. When I know who I am and I know where, and you come from your joy and your love, I mean, that's the gas. That's the gas right there. If you could bring, we talk about in our program, it's about connectivity.
That's good.
And the deepest part of that connection we know is love. I love Penn State. I love chocolate.
That's
you know, I love my community. So we understand that, and and for us, there could be that sense of God at that center. Yeah. And by tapping into that sense of love, man, there's no better thing to bring into the performance space, that's right? Good. Because you're tapping into that real powerful energy, and it's real positive. It's like pure, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're saying, music can take you, where that music wants you to be. That's just something you layer on top, mm-hmm. and that it's kind of like sugar, mm-hmm. right? That only lasts so long, and then you have that sugar crash, and what's left underneath.
Yep.
So I need something more enduring that's going to carry me the entire way through through that performance space. So that's what you're tapping into, which is just fantastic. All right, rounding the curve here. We're covering a lot of great stuff. You really gave me a lot. You gave me some stuff to think about in terms of my joy and my love. So why do you think this program is important for kids?
Yeah.
What do you think about these ideas of gratitude and character and faith? Why do you think it's important to hand to a young student athlete?
Yeah, I think, the space is I think it's like art, so you can kind of paint with your own brush and do all these crazy things, but I think these are fundamental pieces of how to approach something. It's a vehicle to go be successful.
Right.
So I think if you lose one part of that, like you're kind of standing on a weaker foundation. It says stand on the rock. It's immovable. When the wind comes, I'm on the rock. So I think this is such an awesome tool for kids, and to kind of focus, like come from a place of focus and approach something.
Right.
And like I think especially in this day and age, a lot of people are dealing with fear, anxiety. Yeah. Their eyes are looking at something else that they shouldn't, instead of standing on their rock. And that's how I view this program, is a place to like propel from and to go attack what I want to accomplish in a place of peace and joy, gratitude, all these things. So I think it's a very helpful tool that can be used in other things too. Like you're talking about kids, and maybe I'm thinking selfishly about sports or soccer, but that could be music and their home life, relationship with God, relationship with people. So I think it's a very effective tool. And I think I never had this exact programming, but I think I come from that same space. Like my parents organically taught me that, and that's helped me so much. So I believe in it just because of my experience in my life about how I've approached things. It's given me a lot of peace and joy to go do the things I love. And
right, that's it. So it's intentionality. What we want to bring is that intentionality. So sometimes we slip into it, sometimes we slip out of it, sometimes it's based on the people that are around us. But what we're trying to do is always keep that in your back pocket. I can unpack this process wherever I want to go.
That's right.
I want to outward to my community, inward to myself, upward to something bigger than myself.
Good.
So anyway, listen, Maddie Nolf, thanks for being a road warrior. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.